Meet Codename Goose, your on-machine open-source AI agent, built to automate your tasks. Codename Goose is an intelligent and autonomous agent capable of handling complex tasks thanks to its core features. Connect with apps and tools you already use with extensions. Built on the Model Context Protocol, you can connect to extensions like GitHub, integrate JetBrains IDEs, access Google Drive, or build your own custom integrations for Goose. For a curated list of extensions, visit our docs. With a wide range of compatible large language model providers, you can choose and integrate your preferred model. You can also run Goose as a desktop app or through the command line interface using the same configurations across both. You can think of Goose as an assistant, ready to take your instructions and do the work for you. Able to handle a wide range of tasks across various engineering domains. Here are examples of tasks Goose has helped people with already. Goose has helped dive into a new project in an unfamiliar coding language, conduct code migrations such as Ember to React or Ruby to Kotlin, increase code coverage, and even generate unit tests for a feature, and much more. To get started using Goose right away, check out our Quick Start and be the first to know about upcoming features by joining our community.
Ta-da! We are live. Okay, no pressure. How's everyone doing? Is everybody here? And can everyone hear me? That's the first things. This is my first time doing a stream here on Block, so I don't know. Could be good, could be not. Let's see. Let me open the comments and see if I can see. Is there anybody here? Yes! Rizal is there and Adi is there. Adi, you've been following me for a long time. Good stuff. And loud and clear, good. I actually can hear myself twice, which is not good. So I got to figure that out. I've got to turn off the Safari one. It's always something. Everything always goes wrong. But anyway, I'll figure it out. We're here to talk about skills today in Goose. So if you've been using skills at all, I want to hear from the audience. Who here actually knows what skills are and is using them like all the time? Like you're so proficient that skills is just like, yeah, I use skills all the time. Be honest, it's okay. And who here is like, I have never used skills before, because that's totally okay too. There's some echo. All right, is the echo gone? If the echo's gone, let me know, because I killed it on one thing. It was kind of like a Discord open as well. So just things. How's my new job? My new job is going very well. I'm still onboarding, so there's loads to learn. So it's kind of like, like a fire hose of all this information. But I'm getting there slowly and surely. Perfect. Never used before. Just saw your video. I want to learn more. Exactly. This is exactly why you are here. I know nothing. I love that. Great. Someone does know. Ruslan knows. Just starting to use skills. Perfect. And not used, but heard of it. Great. So I'm going to be very honest with you. I am definitely not an expert in skills because it's all still also new. Well, it's kind of like very old in AI terms, but very new in like, say, coding terms, because it came out in like what, November. So it's like years ago in AI world. So what skills is relatively still new-ish. But a lot of people are using it because they're very, very good. So I'm basically going to start telling you a little bit about what skills are. Now, if you are that proficient in skills that you're like, oh my God, I know exactly what I'm doing here, go and make yourself a coffee and then come back for the Playwright bit when I show you how to use the Playwright CLI skill. But first of all, we're going to dive into a little bit of like what are skills. I'm going to break it down for you. So now I'm going to do the scary bit and move you all over to the other side of my screen. And I'm going to put Goose onto the screen. Are you ready for it? Here we go. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Let's do that one and add to stage. There we go. There's beautiful Goose. If you've never used Goose before, then welcome to Goose. Goose is amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I work here. I'm saying that because I've actually been using it quite a lot, and it's really, really, really cool. So do check that out. Goose is your coding agent. It's open source and free to use, and you just bring whatever model that you want to pay for. So I'm using Claude 4.6 Opus here, but you could use whatever you want. So let's get started with skills. First of all, what are skills? Well, this is my agent here, right? And I want to basically tell my agent to do stuff, but sometimes it doesn't know how to do stuff. So I want to teach it how to do stuff, if that makes sense. That's what a skill is. I'm teaching it a skill. Like playing basketball, the agent doesn't know how to play basketball, so you teach it how to play basketball. Or your kids don't know how to play basketball, so you teach them. You give them a new skill. Right, I'm going to show you by basically just opening in VS Code. Now, I went today, actually, and built a skill to show you. First of all, before I dive into the Playwright stuff, skills are basically an agents folder, right? So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. So if you do see that it's kind of like you're not able to see clear enough, do let me know. Goose is a new automation tool. It's not an automation tool. No, it's a coding agent, right? Similar to Claude Code and other types of coding agents that are out there. So here's skills. Skills are built in an agents folder. Now you could have .agents, you could have .goose, .claude, etc., etc. .agents just covers them all, which means you could use it across any of your coding agents. Okay, inside your .agents folder, you will have a skills folder. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward right now, right? And then inside that skills folder, you have the various skills like play basketball, play football, obviously not, no. I've created a skill called add content. Now I've also got the Playwright one. We'll come back to that. Pause on that one for a moment. I know you're all excited for that one, but I want to show you the add content one. I want to show you why. So the add content is a skill, and what a skill has is a skill.md file. So basically, a skill, don't mind all this underlining. The skill is basically a markdown file, right? It's a markdown file with a name and description. And basically, the name and description, right? It's basically VS Code. Stop showing me all this highlighting stuff. The description is use this skill whenever the user says add video, add blog post, add podcast, or provides a URL to add to the site. So basically what I do is when I have a new video, I want to go ahead and add it to my website. And I basically have a lot of things it needs to do, right? It needs to understand the structure of how to add that video to the website, what it needs to do. So I'm basically giving a name and a description into this skill MD file. And then there's a lot of content, like adding the content to debugging.codes. This is how you do it. You find the YouTube URL or the podcast or the blog, right? So there's 3 things there. Let me come back to that in a second. The core workflow, how to get the URL, how to extract the metadata via the browser. I'm using the Playwright CLI skill in here. Skills can use skills. Isn't that cool? Right. That's cool. You can validate tags, right? Because I have like specific tags on my website. I tell it not to create new tags. And then I go and get it to create a Git branch, create the markdown file, create a PR, and actually just push it to GitHub. So basically, I can just go ahead and tell my agent, tell Goose to go and add a video to my website, sit back, relax, and it just does its thing. Now, are you all following? Good. Everything looks good. Okay. Okay, cool. So there were 3 things here that I wanted to point out. My YouTube URL is basically telling it to go, it's telling the agent to go to this references folder and get a video.md file. Let's have a look over here. So the video.md file, there's blog, environment, podcast, and video. The video file basically gives the instructions of how to get the YouTube video, all the information. I use the Playwright CLI for it to go and scrape that data because I don't want to go and copy and paste. I used to do that, copy, paste, name, description. It's a lot of work. So I just hand it over to the agent. So here, I'm basically explaining what it needs to do. And this Goose actually built this skill for me. So I didn't even write this myself. That's the cool thing about using AI. You can get AI to create the AI tools for the AI. So this tells it how to get everything it needs for and how the front matter is set out. So that's the video resource, right? Now, how does this work exactly? Let me just go back to the skill and let me make sure you're all following me. The skill file has the name and description that gets added into the context when you start up your agent, right? If you basically, whatever you put in here is what the agent sees. You want to keep it short and precise. Everything below here, all this in the content part of that markdown file does not get called, does not get put into context until you use the skill. If your agent decides, oh, I need to add a video to the website, I'll go and use that skill, then it will read the rest of that file. All that rest of that file will be put into context. Now, here's when it gets even cooler. The podcast resources file, this link here, and this link here will not get added, will not get used unless it's being called. So if I'm using the video and I'm just adding a video to the site, the blog and the podcast and any other assets or files that are basically in a folder are not going to get put into context because they're not needed. So it's a really, really, really cool way of basically making sure that you're not kind of throwing everything into the context like in a big long prompt. And it's really, really cool. So basically that's how it works. Remember, name and description goes into context. The rest gets called when the skill gets called, and the resources get called when the agent feels it needs it because it, you know, sees that I need to add a YouTube URL. I'll go and see the reference file and how to figure out how to do that, right? So that's basically how skills work. So what I'm going to do is something a bit funky. And let me see if I can find it. I've got a URL here. And I'm going to basically get Goose to go and add something to my site. And then I'm going to go and explain how and show you how to use the Playwright CLI skill. So this is basically just how I do my day-to-day, right? I'm constantly just getting an agent, and I'm going to basically say new session. So I have a new chat here, and down here in Goose, you can select the workspace that you're working in. So I'm working in Debbie.codes. And then here I've got my model, choose the model I want. And over here, and I'll zoom in just another little bit. That's a bit better, I think. So down here, we've got our extensions. Now, how do we use skills? We use it with an extension called Summon. I've already got it enabled here. So just make sure you have that enabled. Make sure you're on the latest version of Goose in order to see the Summon extension. If not, you might see a skills extension that was previously how would we call skills. Now we use Summon. Summon is like summon. You summon somebody to the office. You know, you summon things upon yourself. You get the agent to do something. You're summoning. So basically, to summon. That's where that comes from. It's an interesting word. So Summon is the extension you need. If you don't have, let me just make that smaller. If you don't have the latest version of Goose, you can go here into settings, go into the app, and then down here, I'm up to date. Make sure you're up to date. So that's how you do that. Let's go back to the chat, and we've got our extension on. We are ready to go. So I'm going to go, and I'm just going to check the chat, make sure you're all alive. Excellent. So I'm going to go and just tell my agent to do something. So I'm going to say, use the add content skill. I'm actually being a bit precise here because we're live coding and I didn't want to mess it up. But I should just be able to say add video. So I'm just saying, use the add content skill to add video. And that's the YouTube URL. And I'm just going to press send. Bang. Send it off into the wild and see what happens. Don't worry, because I did this earlier with another video. So I've got one of those, you know, here's one I made earlier, and I can just take that cake out of the oven. But you can see here how it's delegating source instructions, and it's using the source add content. And it's basically add this video to the site. So it's already like doing its stuff. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let's leave that do its thing, and let's go ahead and do something else. And we'll come back later and see, did it do its stuff? So I'm going to open up another chat window, and I'm going to change actually to somewhere else. I'm going to go to the live skills live stream. That's the one I want. There's absolutely nothing in this repo. It's like completely dead. If I scroll along here, this is it, right? So nothing in here, because I want to show you exactly how to install the Playwright CLI skill and how to use it. Okay. Yes, sorry. So I'm going to put this up here. Let me see. Can I show you this? There we go. The summon extension doesn't just load skills. It also loads other things like your sub agents, and it delegates the work to it. So it's really, really cool. And that's why it's better than the previous just skills extension, because it's so much more. It's summoning. It's like, come on, agent, you do this, do this, do this. It's like, it's really cool. So that's the summon one. And yes, you need to upgrade. Excellent. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to bring across something that is called the Goose documentation site, which you all should know how to find it. It's block.github.io/Goose. And in here, there is a tutorial section. And the thing is that I write tutorials for myself so I can easily figure out how to do stuff and remember how to do stuff. So there's my video of me, a little promotion there. But in here, it actually goes through how to do, how to install the Playwright CLI and how to use it. So how to install this skill and use it. So you can come back to this and find it here. So you don't have to take notes as you're going along, because this is public and available for you. So the first thing you would do is basically install globally on your machine the Playwright CLI at latest, right? You install that. Once you have that, you install it once and that's it. I've already installed that. So if you want to code along, you can totally just go ahead and copy and paste that and do that while we're doing it. And then you would go along and install this skill here. So this is how you install it across all of your agents. And let me see if I can pull up a terminal window and just quickly show you what that does. Let me see. Clear. There we are at the top. So that you just copy it in, paste it into your terminal. And what happens here? Oh, I've got a fetch error from Node. Never mind. Dash skill. Let me see. MPX skills, add Microsoft Playwright CLI skills. I'm probably just in the wrong repo. Let me see. LS. Oh yeah, I'm in another repo. So I'm going to just open up another terminal window, and that might make it easier. So this command should work. It did work earlier, I promise. Okay, let's see what happens. And there we go. Now something's come up over here. Full screen tile. Okay, I know you can't see that now because this is coming up over it. I don't know why that's coming up over that, but never mind. It won't let me get out of it. Window, close. There we go. There we go. Something on my Mac is being a bit weird. So you kind of just missed a little bit of that. But basically what it did was, let me zoom in a little bit. It went and just its skills, kind of like cool, just wrote skills across the top there. And then it basically looked for the source. So it's Microsoft Playwright CLI.git. The repository cloned. It found 2 skills. It selected 1 skill, Playwright CLI, and then which agents do you want to install? So this is basically how it gives you the options of which agent you want to choose. So you've got all this, options, and obviously we are going to use Goose. So I'm going to select Goose here, and then this is the cool part. And can you see this big enough? I'm just going to make it very big. So basically you have the project, and then you have global. So this is cool, right? I install the Playwright CLI globally because I use it all the time. And I think, like, depending on your workflow, you might want to do that and you might not. Because remember what I said about the name and description gets added to the context each time. If you have all these global skills, they're always going to be added to context. So just kind of be aware of that a little bit. Now I'm going to do it on the project basis simply because I want to actually show you how it works, and I don't want to have to find that global file in some config folder on my machine. And therefore, now I've got the installation method symlink, which is recommended, the single source of truth, easy updates. Yes. So let's go ahead and just do that. Anything that says recommended, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So basically all this cool terminal stuff. I'm not a terminal person, I'm going to be honest. So I'm like, proceed with installation. Yes. Just give me the stuff. Come on. Okay, so it's done. Review skills before use. They run with full agent permission. Excellent. Okay. Let's close that terminal and let's go back to, I'm going to show you VS Code to show you what was installed before I basically go into here. So before I generate a test, let's go and show you the cool stuff first. So this actually did not put it into the actual folder. I did it wrong. So I'm going to do that again really, really quickly, because when I did my terminal, I didn't go into my workspace. This is really cool because now you can actually see, you can see me do it again. So it's even better. What is it called? Livestream skills. There we go. Right. So now I'm going to just do it again. MPX skills, add, bang. I've done this like 25 times already. So I'm really kind of like, you know, it only takes a second. So anyone who hasn't already done this, you have time to catch up. I'm going to do a project. I'm going to symlink. And yes, so that's how quick and easy it is. When you know what you're doing, it's like bang, 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 done. Okay, now it should be, are you all following me? Good. Now it should be here. Yes, I've got my agents folder. You should all give me a big clap, okay? This is my first live stream on Block. Come on, come on. I deserve a clap for that. How many things go wrong? Everything always goes wrong when I live stream. Okay, chat looks pretty okay. All right, I'll come back to some questions in a few moments. Let me just quickly go through this, and then I'll see if I can pick up any of the questions. So it gives me a .agents folder, right? And inside that .agents folder is that skill MD, just like the one I created and showed you all. And it has a name and a description, like I showed you. And it's basically, the description here is automates the browser interactions for web testing, form filling, screenshots, data extraction, used when the user needs to navigate websites, interact with web pages, fill forms, take screenshots, test web applications, or extract information from web pages. That gets loaded into context, remember. And then everything down here only gets called if the agent starts to use the skill. We don't need to ever really read this. The agent reads this. So I'm just showing it to you, but you could obviously read it to make sure you know what's going on, but you don't need to actually just go through this line by line. But it basically tells you all the Playwright CLI skills, everything it can do, like hover, select, upload. See, that's the thing. Goose doesn't know how to use the Playwright CLI. But now, because there's a skill to tell it how to use it, it can now basically browse the website and click and hover and select and do all these cool things for us. So that's really, really cool. And there's a lot of things in here. So I'm going to show you rather than read all these kind of stuff out here, because it's so much. It's like so big, such a big file. So many things it does. And it obviously then calls references to these other pages that it has in here. So the references are request mocking, right? This gets called if the skill decides or if you basically ask it to do some request mocking, then it will call this file and put that into context. Running code, session management, storage state, if you're doing like cookies and local storage, that's really cool. Browser storage state. Test generation, generate Playwright test code automatically as you interact with the browser. Amazing. Tracing, capture detailed execution traces for debugging and analysis. Traces include DOM snapshots, screenshots, network activity, and console logs. And video recording, capture browser automation sessions as video for debugging, documentation, or verification. Produces a WebM video. Bang, that's it. That is the skill. The thing is that this is created for you, so you don't have to like do anything. You just have to install it and use it. I'm just showing you like everything about it here, but you don't have to worry about it. Okay, we've got our skill. Now we need to go and use it. So let's take a look at how we can do that. And let's go back to, well, we could go to our blog post here. I have it a bit small. And we could basically follow the instructions here, right? Or we could just go and type into Goose anything you want and use the website you want to do. So I'm going to basically not use this example. I'm going to use a different example just because I'm going to make it go a bit mad and test things live. Are there any references part of the Playwright CLI, or are they bound to Goose? So the references part, I should bring these questions up. I'm terrible at this kind of hosting part. Are these references part of Playwright CLI? Yes, they are. This is built by the Playwright CLI. So the Playwright team built these references, and they get installed no matter what agent you're using. The agent files, all those files come in. That's why I'm showing it to you in VS Code, because this doesn't have anything to do with Goose. This is an agents folder. And Goose can use it, Claude Code can use it, any of your agents that can use skills can use it. So everything here is just basically from installing that command. That is basically how that works. But that's a good question. Thank you. Excellent. So, this is the cool thing. Right, I'm just going to say, and again, we'll just make sure summon is selected. We're summoning. We're going to summon. And I'm going to see if this works. Come on, people, wish me luck. All right, go to debbie.codes and click on the video video. Yeah, click on the video in the menu, or just, click on the videos. I don't know. And filter for AI videos, for example. All right, simple as that. That's just a simple command, right? That's basically just me in natural language, just basically asking Goose in natural language to go to my website and click on the videos and filter for an AI video. It's just a simple task. Maybe I just want to go to that website to do whatever. You can see it's running the Playwright CLI. Okay, there's a couple of things here. It's finding which one it needs to use. That's fine. And it can see the page is loaded. There's a videos link in the footer. All right, it shows it from the footer. That's fine. And it navigated to the videos page. Now you're all looking at me going, but where's the browser? I can't see anything. Can't see anything. This is the cool thing, right? AI, the agents don't need eyes, so they don't need to see what's going on, but they're taking a snapshot. So the Goose here is taking a snapshot of the page. That's how it knows how to find that element on the page. It knows how to find it and click it. You can see here the filters tag at the top. There's an AI filter link with a ref. Now, I know most of you have not seen my website, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. What I'm showing you is that the agent, oh, it's giving me a full, it's giving me 30 AI tag. Oh my God, I do way too many AI videos. There's all my videos. So the AI filter is now applied and the page is here. So I can actually go ahead and click this website and open it. I don't want to do that because I want to basically explain to you what just happened there. So we just use the Playwright CLI skill to open a browser and click and do stuff. But you didn't see anything because it was running in headless mode, because browsers, because the Playwright CLI AI, like the agents don't need to see a browser. We do. So we could basically ask it to run in headed mode to get a browser if you wanted to, if you really wanted to see what's going on. But I'm going to do something different. And bear with me. I'm just checking the chat. I think it's pretty much okay. There's a lot of big, long questions in there, so I might have to come back to those long questions later. But you're all following along, which is good. If you're not following along, do let me know. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask it to open the dashboard. Right? Let's see if this works. So it's running the Playwright CLI. I'm making sure, did it a dashboard? No. So let's say open the Playwright CLI. No, it's not open. I think it's show, actually. Show the dashboard. I think when I was reading through the commands, I think they used a show. Let's see if it is the right one. If not, I'll just actually tell the agent specifically. No, it's not. It's no, that's not what I wanted. All right, let's stop that. Let me get it again. Use the Playwright. So sometimes you might have to kind of be specific. And I think the dashboard one, it's a little bit of a dodgy command because it's like open show. You got to remember, this is only released like 5 days ago. So this could be improved for sure. But use the Playwright CLI to open or to show the dashboard. And I think they called it a dashboard. And if this opens up, then I'll be able to show you what I mean. It's running Playwright CLI help. Great. Now it should find the command. The command was show, not open. Okay, excellent. So what just happened there? This is the dashboard it's a remote control for your agents. So basically I have a dashboard of what the agent is doing. And if I open up another agent, right, there's a global one there. There's my videos AI, and this is the other video. Now, why is there two videos here? Well, one of them is on my Debbie.codes website that I was doing earlier. Do you remember I sent the agent off to do its work? And I said, we'll come back to it. Well, here in the background, the agent is working, and I've got the dashboard, which I've just opened now, but it's showing me what's just happened, what I previously just ran, and what I've ran just now. So my two agents. Isn't that just cool? Put in the chat that that's cool, because I think that's cool. Show me that that is cool. This is really cool, people. So I can basically see what's going on between my agents, what was going on in the background. So there's something wrong with that video. Maybe it was just, I can figure that out. That's fine. But what's really cool is that you can click on it. I'm going to wait for this moment, everybody, because this is cool. I just love this moment. What do you mean? Oh, okay, just let's journey. Which provide? Okay, that's different questions. Right, are you ready? Watch this. Watch this, everyone. Watch. I'm gonna click on it. I'm now on my site. I've just made what the agent did. I just made it bigger, right? Click to interact. I can interact. What? I can interact. That means I can literally press play on this video. This is cool. And watch myself, right? Let's not watch myself. This is, I can search in here. Playwright, I can search for AI. Ooh, AI. I can search for MCP. No, I need to spell it right. MC, right. You get the gist of it, right? I can navigate. I can do whatever, right? This is cool. I can go back. Let's go back, and I'm back to my two windows. Now, how amazing is that? That is just amazing. That means you can take over control from your agents, play around, debug, see what's going on, and keep going. That's just basically part of the skill of the Playwright CLI. Super cool. Right. Now I've gone a bit kind of into the coolness. Let me take a step back a second, and let me show you what just happened when I basically asked it to go to my website, because that's all I did, right, was go to my website and say, we go back to the first thing here, go to Debbie.codes, click on the videos and filter for AVI videos, right? That's all I asked it to do. Now, I'm going to actually get it to do that again, and in the background while I show you what's going on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, no, I don't want to do that one. And let me go to Debbie.codes and click on the videos and filter and create a trace and video for what you have done, and then generate a Playwright test. Bang. Right. That's cool. Let's come back and check on that in a second. Let's go over to VS Code and see what happened over here. Cool. So basically we have a .playwright CLI folder. Now this folder, make sure you put that in your git ignore, because this is a new folder and you don't want to be putting all this into git, especially because there could be kind of data in there that maybe you don't want. I don't know, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to show you what's in here. So let's just have a look at the page first. This is basically the page, my website, in an accessible tree format. So you can see that's how Playwright reads your website. It reads the accessible tree, and that's how it gets these reference numbers. So that's how it knows what to click. And you might have saw in what Goose was doing with the agent, it was like clicking ref E6, and you can always come back and have a look and see where that kind of where that is. Now look at this page, right? This is such a long page. Oh my God, this is such a long page. Imagine putting all this page into context. And that's what was happening with the Playwright MCP. So if you were using that before, you were putting the accessible tree into the context window. And then some people were having problems because their pages are too big. There's a lot in the context, and et cetera, et cetera. This is saved locally. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's saved locally, which means the agent just needs to go and read the local snapshot and then basically like, click on this, and it keeps updating the snapshot as it's interacting with the page. Like, that is the coolness of this. It basically just creates this snapshot, gets all the information it needs, and it doesn't pollute the context. So the Playwright CLI is much more token friendly. So if you've ever used Playwright MCP Server, totally check this out, because it works very, very similar, but less token heavy. Okay. I can see Rozelle's answering a lot of the questions there in the chat. So thank you, Rozelle. And I will pull up any of the questions I see, if I can find nice short ones. Long questions are hard to answer. Okay, let me then go back to our agent Goose. And I'm going to show you two things. You can see here, we've now got traces and we've now got video. Right, let's go back over to Goose, and you see what was just, the task is complete. Thank you, Goose. The task is complete, the actions performed. It navigated to w.codes, it clicked videos, it clicked the AI filter tag, it recorded a video, it recorded a trace, and it recorded a Playwright test. Oh my God. Isn't that just amazing? One test, one passed. Wow, let's scroll all the way up, and you want to like just like there's not a lot to look at, right? It basically it confirmed the Playwright CLI, it opened it, it started the tracing, it started the video, it got the snapshot, it clicked on the videos. You'll see E17, that's the ref that it needed. It's on the videos page, it clicked on the AI filter tag using the snapshot. And then it basically used this page here. That's the YAML file I just showed you. So it used that one. If you ever wanted to reference at what point, what file it was using to see that, etc. So it found it. The AI tag filters at ref E354. It clicked it. It stopped tracing. It stopped the video. Tracing and video both saved. And then the key actions, it looked at the key actions in the trace. Let me see if I can see anything in there. Looked in here. And then it basically generated the Playwright test based on the actions it performed. Made the test folder, because I don't have a test folder. Like I told you, it was an empty repo. And it created the test file, and the test file was created. And then look at this. Look at this. This is so cool. Goose just decided that it's going to install Playwright for me, because I didn't even have Playwright installed. So if I'm going to write a test in Playwright, it was like, well, if you're going to write a test, you probably want to run the test. And if you're going to run the test, well, you're going to need Playwright. So it just went ahead and did it for me. You saw I didn't do anything. It just did it for me. That's cool. And then it went ahead and it ran the test, and the test passed. Like, wow, everybody. Isn't that just like, yes. Thank you, Clayton. This is awesome stuff. This super is awesome stuff, everybody. This is like so new and so cool. So that's cool. Now, we can go back to VS Code and basically have a look. The video is there. The trace is there. And the tests are there. And you can see I now have a package JSON. And I now even have, I should have a Playwright config somewhere. And you can see I have the test results, even the last run JSON from the test. And you can see there's my test. And let's just pull it over so I can kind of see. Like, if you use Playwright, this is pretty good code. Okay, this is pretty good. Expect await articles count to be greater than 0. Again, you could change that. You could modify that as you need. But in a matter of seconds, we got a test written. Like, this is even just a great starting point if you want to just then go and, do more stuff based on that. But like, this is amazing. And if you just don't have time to do testing, you've got 0 excuses from now on. Okay. So now let's go back to Goose, and basically we want to see the trace, right? Now let's have a look first at my this dashboard here. So this is the same one here that it's running, because I'm in the same instance. That's why this is still on this video's AI. You might have seen it change while it was running. But if I was to open up a new session or a new workspace down here, then I would get another agent instance in the dashboard. Okay. So this is a good question. Let me just answer this quickly. It can write tests in any language, like I prefer Python. I actually don't think so. I think the skill is taught to teach it how to write it in TypeScript. But you could possibly modify the skill if you wanted to and teach it how to write it in Python, and I'll leave that for you to figure out. Okay. Okay, that's about funds. So Goose have generated your Playwright code, right? Yes. Goose didn't. Goose used the Playwright skill to generate the test. So that's how it had the knowledge to be able to create a good test. Otherwise, maybe it might have cut a good test, maybe it might have hallucinated, but because it has the skill and knows how to do it, it now can actually write a good test. And that's what skills are so cool. Good question there. Okay. Can I extend the existing Playwright CLI using already existing implementation architecture? Should I update skills to use certain methods? So remember, when you install this skills, if Playwright team make an update to it, and then you basically go and, install that command again, it would overwrite everything. So think about that, maybe you want to create your own skill. If you do want to modify it, like create your own kind of copy of it, I'd say. And you can make your own version, of course, that's, totally up to you. But remember that this is something that could evolve. So therefore you don't want to edit things and then lose things out, but you could also make your own skill that kind of like uses this skill, etc. Like I showed you in my ad content that uses the Playwright CLI skill. So again, play around with that a little bit. How would you verify it has not hallucinated the test? All right, that is a great question, and that's what we're going to show you right now. So basically, if I don't believe it because you don't believe it, nobody believes that the agent can do a good job, and you want to make sure the agent did the things correctly. So you can basically say, show me the video. And you can actually, I don't even know if this will work. It wasn't working yesterday. It did work the day before. We'll see. But basically, there's a video that we just recorded of it taking all its actions. So keep Chrome. Let's keep Chrome. Let me see. So this is not working for some reason. It is working in my other video. So don't worry about this too much because I'm not going to debug a video on a live stream. But basically, it could be just my machine that's not allowing it to play. But basically, you could ask it to go and show me the video, and it should just go and play that video. And then what's even cooler, because videos is so old school, you can actually ask it to open the Playwright Trace Viewer. Now, again, another thing that I found is that locally, the trace, can you zip the trace and open it? Traces should be a zip in order to be used in the trace viewer. And for some reason, it doesn't create it as a zip file, maybe because it can't. So I need to then basically ask it to zip it before it can use it. So basically what I did was ask it to open the trace viewer. Ooh, let me pull that across there. There's my trace viewer. And then basically what I need to do is, let me see. I can see the trace viewer is open with the drop playwright trace in it. Let me load the trace file directly via the URL. So let's see if Goose can actually do this for me. If not, I could actually take that trace file and just, drop it into there. That's how the trace viewer works. Sometimes Goose just opens it for me and then I don't have to worry about it. And sometimes I've dropped it in. So that, again, you saw how terrible I was at basically prompting things. So I could have been very specific and it would have done a better job. But I'm just showing you how simple it is to do things. And then I want things to be wrong so you can see if it's not working, then what you need to do. So I will go ahead and while Goose is working on it, I will go ahead and find that file. It's in workspaces, skills live stream, and test result. Oh, I can't see it in here. Damn it. I'm not showing the let me stop Goose and let me ask it to do it again. Can you open the trace viewer and load the trace? I think it's called trace.zip. And load the trace.zip file. Let me just go over here and show you and make sure. There it is. Trace.zip is there. So if not, I'll drag and drop it over. But let me see if Goose can figure it out. There we go. That's better. Okay. So this is basically the trace, right? Let me zoom in, make it bigger. So Goose did it. If I'm a bit more specific, Goose does things better. So remember, sometimes be a bit more specific about what you want it to do. There is a timeline, right? I can actually just go along here and verify that things are being done and that it's getting to, you know, what it's clicking, etc. This is not loading very well, but don't worry about it. But basically what I'm showing you here, this is kind of a half trace for some reason. So this trace file is a bit not perfect, as you're seeing. So we could go ahead and run that command again. But this is how we can check. We've got the full network in here. We've got our source. We've got our console, our errors, our log, all our locators, waiting for locator, resolved to videos. So we can see what was called. We can also click on this. Let me find it better. It doesn't show it very well. Let me see if I can open it again. I might load it better this time. Can you, and let me close this one as well, just so it doesn't have too many open. Can you load the trace.zip file in the Playwright dashboard? No, Playwright trace viewer. So basically with the trace file, you can debug, you can do it. Now we had a very, very simple workflow here, so that there's not a lot to kind of to go over. But basically what you're doing is you're getting the trace of in here. This is all the traces, the resources, right? So they're all in here. And then it should open this up and you should be able to basically just go ahead and then debug what was going on and see what your agent did. Obviously, if you've got a really, really big kind of workflow going on, there's a lot more to kind of debug and things like that. So just, you know, keep that in mind. But I don't know, everyone, we've got to start trusting the agents with all these skills and, like, you know, these things. We just have to kind of run their test, go through the test code, and you can see if it kind of hallucinated a little bit or not, right? But basically, yeah, this is taking a bit of time to run up for whatever reason. Don't worry, we'll let it do its thing. But you saw how the trace viewer works. It's kind of very, very cool. But while we're here, let's just go back and remember the other agent we had. So this is green. So he finished the task here. We'll leave him running and we'll take this one here. And let's see. All right, the video added. Remember at the start, I kind of said I'm just going to add content, add the video to my website. I'm going to run that in the background. So I always have these kind of things running in the background, and then I just come back to it. It's green, it's finished, and then I have a look. And this is kind of something I don't care about all this. I don't want to know. So I'm not going to show you. Don't want to know. All I want to know is that the video was added and there's a pull request. Now that's the cool thing. Right, let me open this up. Let me see. There is my pull request. My website is open source. You can go to debbie.codes right now. You can click on my GitHub link and you'll be able to see this right now before your eyes. And you can see, like, 28 minutes ago, that's when we started it. It says me. It was really Goose. It was me and Goose. So this adds the video, and basically, you know, this is here, no conflicts, etc. Like, this is really cool. The file is created, and I can basically the deploy preview will be generated automatically from the PR. And I can just go along here and, you know, check that. Bang. This looks great. The date. I always have to check the date. The date looks great. It is a talk from November. So this looks great. All checks have passed. And there is a deploy preview. And it should basically show me another video in the videos. Let's go to the videos page. It's not a recent one. It's an older one. And that's it from the Azure Dev Summit from November the 19th. That was added just right now. That's the deploy preview. So if you go to my website right now, you will not find that video because I have not pressed the merge button. And I can do that in a few minutes. But that's just basically how cool this is. You can get things running for you in the background using the skills. Okay. I don't know. I think I've shown enough, right? That's probably going to I'm going to stop that process, and I need to just ask it a little bit better. But I'm going to stop that screen sharing, and I'm going to see if anyone has any questions. Let me just go into this view for a second, bring you all across here. And I don't know, people, did I show you enough? Are you like blown away? Are you kind of thinking, oh my God, this looks so difficult? It should not look so difficult. This should be super easy. This is the blog post or the tutorial that I created. So if you go to this URL, you'll totally be able to see everything I just did, just using a different example and how to install it. And you can just, like, in a matter of a couple of minutes, you can get this done. So that's basically it. That's all I need to show you. Skills, remember, are basically giving your agent something new ways of doing stuff. Like, you're teaching it something, how to do stuff. You're teaching it the way it should be done. You're teaching it how to use a specific tool. You can use skills with MCP servers. So another one that I have on my site is I get the when I'm adding a podcast, I need an image. So I actually go and get the image using the Playwright CLI, and then I upload it to Cloudinary using the Cloudinary MCP server. And it does all that behind the scenes while I'm doing other stuff. Like, that's the cool thing. It's just doing it. And then I can just open that dashboard whenever I want and kind of, like, you know, have a look and see, remember that little dashboard? There it is there. I'm not sharing anymore, but you know what I mean? That dashboard I showed you earlier. So you can keep an eye on what the agents are doing in the background. But yeah. So this is a great question. Is Playwright Skill making reuse of planner, generator, and healer agent? It's kind of not, right? It's the Playwright Skill is a CLI skill is a very different one. Planner, generator, and healer are specifically created for testing and for kind of like you're using it in, say, VS Code environment, for example. You're in an editor environment, and therefore you're able to, you know, plan out a test. There's no planning skill in there, but you could totally create one if you wanted to. It generates the tests, and the healer agent is able to debug a test and stop it at a particular point and debug. So that's kind of really cool. That's specific to what it uses is a MCP server, which is the Playwright test MCP server, not to be confused with the Playwright MCP server. So it's a little bit different. There's now three tools. There's the first tool is the MCP server. That's the first one that came out. And that's basically great. It's amazing, but it's a little bit context heavy. It's a little bit uses up a lot of tokens. Then you've got the agents, which is basically what you're going to use when you're in your editor. And if you're really doing a lot of testing, planning, generating, and healer and stuff, you know, you can get up Copilot, etc., to go ahead and use that. But if you want to do something like, you know, just a natural language and just, you know, especially browser automation, and then like throw in some testing on top of that, the Playwright CLI skill is like number one. It is amazing. Now it's not even, it's exactly 2 weeks old. I think it's exactly 2 weeks old. Maybe it's a week, 2 weeks, something like that. It's 2 weeks old, right? So it's still very new. So there's probably going to be more improvements to it and more things for it to kind of like work on. All right. So keep an eye on what's going on. I know the dashboard part where you can see the agents running, that was like 5 days ago, like that was built. So super new. But which should you use? That depends. You can basically decide on that depending on your use case. But if you want to get things done just in Goose and natural language, Playwright CLI is just the best. Amazing. Yes, it is amazing. Thank you, Anakin. It's good to see that other people find it interesting. Okay, this is interesting. What I wonder about, if there are any limitations of Playwright CLI versus Playwright MCP for generating tests. I don't think so, personally, but that is a great way to test things out, because in Goose, you can also use the Playwright extension, which is the Playwright MCP server. And then you can just have one agent using the Playwright MCP and one agent using the Playwright CLI skill, and then basically test it out and see which one came back better for you, how much money you spent on each one, and then basically say, whoa, this is much better for me, but this is not. So yeah, and if you're missing something, I don't know, I guess tell the team and make a PR, because all this is open source, which is great. Okay. What model? That's someone talking to someone else. That's great. I'm just scrolling a little bit. I'm terrible at this chat thing because he's all right, very long messages. So let me just quickly scroll up. How would you verify? Yeah, so we answered that one. Where do we find these skills? Excellent question. Where do we find these skills? There's a good few places to find skills. We have on the Goose documentation side, there's a little kind of small marketplace for skills. There's not a many in there because they're just kind of some ones we've started kind of creating to share. But skills, you will find them. Anthropic have their own kind of ones that they're sharing with people. There's even a skill to create a skill, which is, I used it steadily. So then you don't have to think about formatting the actual file and stuff. So skills is an open standard. So basically everybody is has their own kind of skills kind of place where they can find, like, marketplace, I should say. So there's a lot of different marketplaces. So I would basically say just go and, you know, find it. And you can always ask Goose, what skills do you have? And where can I get more skills? Have a look at tutorials in our skills section in the docs as well. But there's, skills, you can just make your own, which is actually pretty easy to make your own as well. Like, I made that today and I made it using Goose. I asked Goose, I was like, I need to create a skill. I had a prompt. So I was like, I have this prompt file. Can you make a skill based off this prompt file? Again, my website is open source. You can totally see all the work I did today. It's probably not perfect. So if there are any mistakes, make it pure and help me fix it. And yeah, so Goose generated the Playwright code. We already showed that. And how can I learn more? How can we learn more about skills in general? Great question. I deep dived into it this week, watching a lot of videos and just like really trying to get all the knowledge from so many different sources. And I don't even think that we have enough material on it to kind of like show you all. But there are a couple ones. Let me share my screen again. I'll quickly just show you what's in the Goose docs. And I would say definitely follow us. That's what I'm going to say. Follow us. There we go. So there's a couple of things. What I told you earlier before is there's a skills marketplace. There's just a couple of skills. If you wanted to just check out some of them, code review, just, you know, you want to try it out. Just try out one of these. A Goose blog post, write and publish blog posts for the Block Goose open source project, deadly testing strategy, guidelines for writing effective tests. So you can just totally just go ahead and copy that command and install it. Again, these are just some of the skills available. There's a lot more out there in the wild. These are the ones that are vetted by the Goose team, by the Block team, I should say. And then basically in here, you can have a look at, in the docs, the skills. You can also search. We'll do this over here, tutorials. There's the tutorial I created for the agentic testing with the Playwright CLI skill. And then if we look over here, you'll find some skills. And the should pages come up. There we go, using skills, the skills extension. And there's a nice blog post there. Did skills kill MCP? Totally worth reading. And that gives you kind of like a direction of like, oh, what's the difference between the skills and the MCP when to use one or the other, etc. So remember, use AI when you have a question. Ask it. Creating a skill. Here's how to create the skill if you wanted to learn how to do that. I totally recommend you go ahead and do that. And then there is, let me see if I can find it, skill. There was a page I found earlier that was really cool. Create videos with remotion skills. Like, this is really, really cool. So you could go ahead and play with this if you wanted to. There's a lot of kind of cool things in here. So definitely just search around and play around. There's your Goose prompt. There's what the output should look like. So there's a lot of, that's just on our site, and there's a lot of other stuff out there in the wild, as I said. But we will continue to produce more. So thank you for that question, because that is definitely a question on my mind as well. It's sometimes hard to navigate the world and find everything. But I'm going to create more content on it, especially if it's something that you feel is worth creating, then we're going to do it. Everyone, we are at time. I have had so much fun. I don't think everything has gone perfect, but it's not gone too bad. So I think it's pretty good. That means I might be back for some more. So yes, Have fun with skills. Ping me if you have any questions, doubts, or whatever. And basically just have fun and try things out. You've got to try things out. Don't just watch this, walk away and go, okay, I think I know skills. You will never know skills until you actually build one yourself, play with them, run them. Just get up and get started and get it done. Everyone, this has been so much fun. Thank you. And we are over and out. Now I've got to do the cool thing of like pressing the button and finding how to end the stream. I found the button. We are out. Bye, everyone. Thank you.